133 people buried here. After that, it was declared full and moved further up the road, across the river, actually. Now, the reason you look, as you look around, you're gonna see it kind of looks like it's all set up for Halloween, right? Well, it's not. The reason why we have headboards and not headstones is because during the gold rush, people were in a hurry. They were leaving behind their friends, their families. They were going north to seek adventure, their fortunes. And if they happened to die along the way, they were often surrounded by strangers. Now, the custom was to send people back to wherever they were from, but we didn't always know where that was. Sometimes you had to rifle through a man's pockets or possessions, find something with his name on it, slap it on a board, head on up the trail. No one was going to take the time or the money to carve out tombstones. Now, because headboards don't really stand the test of time or weather, and we get a lot of weather here, the city actually has an archive of all of the tombstones and headboards that are in here, the size and the wording. And as they get worn down, the city will actually replace them. So some of these have been replaced as recently as 10 years ago, but they are real markers. Now, like I said, people didn't carry ID back then. We didn't always know who they were. Sometimes you'll see unknowns. You'll see initials. You'll see just a year of death, not a day. Whatever we could have, we put it on the board. People, time was money. The people who got the earlier claims got the better claims. A lot of these men were lucky to be buried at all. Victorian tradition, and it's called a surround. It was meant to keep people from walking over your grave, something that was considered unlucky. It was also supposed to look like a bed or a crib, so that you knew that your loved one was resting peacefully. So Miss Clara right here probably had friends and family in town, people who loved her, people who maybe couldn't afford a tombstone but still took the time and trouble to carve out a surround for her. Because they knew that if she was going to be on her feet for a while, they wanted her to be as comfortable as possible.
Easier to get up.
Either way, I know what you're thinking. That's all very interesting, Alex, but where is he? Where's that con man? That dirty dog? That trickster? That no good Nick ne'er-do-well, right? Well, there he is right there at the top of the stairs. Jefferson Randolph Smith, better known as
Soapy.
Soapy. His headboard reads Jefferson R. Smith died July 8th, 1898, age 38. 38? So young. But we don't cry for him. He was the bad guy, which is why we put him behind bars in the cemetery. Don't be too disappointed. He is right there. What I mean is right here, not in the cemetery. You see, the good people of Skagway, they didn't want that con man on consecrated ground with their loved ones. You don't put an outlaw with your in-laws. They had the Reverend redraw the border right about here. So you, madam, are standing on the line of good and evil.
I love it.
You look used to it. Either way. They booted him 3 feet outside its limits, forever adrift on unconsecrated ground, right? But that's not the end of the story either. How did he get from the docks to the depths? Well, we're going to tell you the rest of that story down there at the largest monument in the center of our cemetery. You can take the high road up here, you can take the low road over there, but meet me over in front and I'll tell you how it all happened. You might say it was pretty intense. Don't worry, I get worse. All right, come right around the front here, guys. Come around the front. I see you guys have a lot of cameras, and this is really a fantastic place to get a picture of the monument. Our hero, Frank Reid. All right, can't hold this pose that long, guys. All right, one more. Ready? It's all a cheesy setup, you guys. Ready? My God, man, don't shoot! Those were the final words we heard coming from the docks that night, and I'm going to reset the scene for you. Soapy Smith spent his day drinking his red-eye whiskey and getting drunker and drunker. He decided to go down to the docks with his Winchester rifle on his shoulder and bust up that meeting. Now he staggered on down to the docks, and when he got within, excuse me, sir, spitting distance, he saw Frank Reid. Frank Reid was there with the 6-shooter on his hip. He saw Soapy arriving. He issued him a warning. "Stop right there, Smith. No one wants you at this meeting." Soapy replied, "Well, dang you, Reid, this is a public wharf, and I'll go where I want." Took his Winchester rifle, and he swung it over his shoulder like a club, trying to knock Frank off of the dock into the drink. But he was drunk, and he missed. And this was all the legal provocation that Frank Reid thought that he would be needing. He pulled his 6-shooter from his hip. He pointed it right at Soapy. He aimed true, pulled the trigger, and click. Bang would have been the end of the story. But in a twist of fate, making this the most dramatic gunfight in Alaskan history, his gun fell on a faulty cartridge. And in that time, Soapy saw a man pointing a gun, aiming to kill. He whipped his rifle around, and both men, almost at the same time, bang, bang, both fired. Now Soapy Smith took a bullet to the heart and was dead before he hit the docks. And they say he's the lucky one, right? Because Frank Reid, on the other hand, and there's not really a delicate way to put this, so it was a little more like, no pictures, please. He took a rifle blast to the pelvis, and he didn't die that day. He died 12 agonizing days later from an infection to the lungs. Bye.